Do you understand what's going on in the real estate market? A lot of them say, yeah, it's a great time to buy, there's foreclosures. So I address REOs, I address short sales, and I'll adjust the inventory, what's going on in the county, and explain to them why it is a seller's market right now. That's the second thing I do, and then the third thing I do is I explain to them, and I ask them, do you understand what our value is to you as a realtor? And a lot of them think you're showing property. And I set the record straight, that's not my value. My value is negotiations, contract and disclosure law. But the real reason why you want to hire me is I'm a very good negotiator, because the market we're in right now, the property that you're going to buy, most likely 3 or 4 other buyers want to buy it. How do we get you the property? So that's what I talk about in my buyer's presentation. And then the fourth thing I talk about is their lender. And I'll ask them, have you got pre-qualified? Do you understand what kind of financing have you decided to do? Are you putting some money down? Are you all cash? They'll say, yeah, I've talked to a finance person. Great. Who is it? I need to get that information from them. And I say, great, that's awesome. Here's what I need to do. If it's okay with you, I would like to call them and interview them. And they'll say, why? Well, because in this market that currently today is I need to make sure that that lender you're using is up to speed and how to take advantage of this market. Because if they're not, it can cost you thousands of dollars. And I'll explain to them what I mean by that. In this market, you have to be very creative in contract writing, especially if you have 4 or 5 offers on a property. I got to make sure the lender is going to back me up, especially when I tighten up the terms. Okay? So I got to make sure they understand that they've actually worked with buyer's agents before. That's number one. And number two, I want to make sure that they're going to help me when there's 4 offers, that they're communicating with the listing agent and calling them for me. Hey, I work with Garibaldi, he just presented an offer. I'm just letting you know, I'm doing a loan for you. They're selling me and calling the listing agent, okay? I'm trying to get an advantage. My experience with a lot of these lenders, these buyers are using, have no idea what I'm talking about. So after I get done my buyer, most of the time I'll say, well, great, is it okay if you talk to one of my lenders? They say, sure. After I get done, most of the time they want to talk to my lender. Because I get them to understand how important it is. It's teamwork, that the lender and agent are on the same page. So after I get done with them, they're going to want to deal with my lender most of the time. So I cross-sell my lenders that I work with. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what I do. And when I get done with my buyers, most of the time, after I'm done, they end up finding the property themselves and then calling me and say, hey, I like this property, let's write an offer on it. So a lot of times I'm not in my car showing the property. They're out finding the property themselves because they understand my values and negotiations. So I just wanted to make sure you guys at least doing that. Just, if you get a buyer referral, don't get super excited and just put them in the car and go. I get buyers all the time referred to me, and if they don't sit down with me and meet either at Starbucks or in an office or in their house, don't meet with them. Don't work with them. What I'm after every day when I wake up, I'm after getting people to like me quickly, get them to build trust quickly, and tell me the truth about their motivation. That is my goal every day. Motivation, 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 motivation. A lot of people are going to be dishonest about their motivation because they don't like you yet. That's what I found. The more you get these people comfortable to liking you, asking good questions, be a good listener, I found they'll like you a lot faster. So when I'm in a listing presentation or I'm working with a buyer, I'm always thinking questions, 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 questions. Every one of my listing presentations, I can tell you guys right now, if they talk 70% of the time and I talk 30% of the time, I win every time. It's when I talk too much and don't ask questions, and I'm talking 80% of the time and they're talking 20%, I never get the deal. That's just been my experience. So knowing this, I focus on questions, 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 because the more questions you ask, the more rapport you're going to build. Does that make sense? If you guys are going to read a book, the book that I read was Brian Tracy. No, not Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy was The Power of Charm by Brian Tracy. Great book. It's all about how you charm people. It's all about making people feel good. I'm all about making people feel good. For me, when I'm out selling, men are easy for me to convert. Because men are easy for me to charm, because men want to be heard. They want to be heard how hard they work, the car they're building. And so when I go and I meet with men, I'm always thinking, wow, that's amazing. Who built that car? Wow, where do you work? So I'm very good with men. The problem with men is you can get them to make a decision, but a lot of times they change their mind. Men are harder men are harder to charm, to break into, but when they make a decision, it's more set in stone, for me. So women are a little bit more challenging. And if you read that book, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So it's all about building trust. Do you guys know they did a survey? It's not how many homes you sold. Do you know what the consumer's looking for in a real estate agent when they choose them? You know what it is? The number one thing? They did a survey on it. It's trust. So forget how good your listing presentation is. Here's my listing presentation, right? I can pass it around. I slip a CMA in here. And I have it also on the Intero. This is what I use when I go out. But I have the Intero logo on the front. But it tells me a little bit about myself, my achievements, what areas I work in. I have 4 pages of homes I recently sold. Okay? What am I going to do to sell the home? Some award stuff that I did at Intero. But really, this is not why they're going to hire you. They're going to hire you because they like you and they trust you. So 25% of my presentation is getting them to, I build rapport with these people. Get them to like me and trust me. I spend more time there than here, than going into my listing presentation. So I focus on that a lot. So just remember that when you're meeting people, remember, think questions and shut up. Don't talk too much. Do you guys find you guys are talking too much? I did. My first year, when I did so many transactions, you guys have no idea how many appointments I went on. I called expires for sale by owners. I was probably on 75 listing presentations, and I converted 16. And the reason why I talked so much, because I was nervous, and I didn't know how to handle the objections. If you're going to handle an objection, if they say cut your commission, don't sit there and give them a long explanation why you're not going to cut it, because the longer you talk, the weaker you become. You guys understand that? Mm-hmm. Short and sweet responses work every time. I can't tell you, every time I get an objection, a short, sweet response back to their objection is very powerful, and I think it's the best strategy to go that route. And remember this, when you get objections, you should give yourself a standing ovation, because these people they're starting to say, hey, I like you, I just need more information. So objections are great. All the deals that all the listing presentations that I went on that I did not get, no, most of the time I never got an objection. Okay, you guys understand that? Mm-hmm. You have any questions? Nope. I'm going on. I'm trying to get them to open up, ask a question, you just answer it and just shut up. They didn't communicate very well with me. They had no concerns, no objections, and every time is okay, thank you.